Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be doing a picture walk through my journey in Lolita fashion. I have been in this fashion since about March of 2015, and it has been quite the journey. So, we're going to take a look at all of my Lolita phases and how I got from where I was to where I am today. All right, so let's go through my very first phase, which was my finding out phase or my bodyline phase. When I first started out, like a lot of Lolitas, I was really into Bodyline. I was really into the sweet style. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money. So I bought my very first dress, which was Balloon Bears. And I held on to that dress for so long just because of the nostalgia of it all. But as you can see with my first cord and with my second cord, I did not know what a petticoat was. I didn't want to know what a petticoat was. I thought that they were unnecessary and that they were too expensive. So in my first cords, I was just experimenting with the style. I was experimenting with colors and putting together a cohesive outfit. Thank you so much to everybody in my community who let me gracefully go through this very Ida phase of life. But after a couple of months and after studying the Lolitas in my community, you can see that I started to discover, a little bit of something. I bought my first petticoat and I wore my Balloon Bears again with a petticoat. And you can see in that cord, I have a lot more accessories. I have on some wrist cuffs. I have some things going on in my hair. I also discovered the twin tail wig, which was a complete game changer for me. And as we go along in my journey through Bodyline, I really started to do better with my cords. I started to incorporate more elements of the dress. My color blocking got a lot better. And yeah, Bodyline was a journey for me. It took me about 6 months of Bodyline practice to get a little comfortable with cording. And then we moved on to our next phase. All right, so my next phase of Lolita fashion was my brand whore phase. That's the only way that I'm going to describe it. I discovered Angelic Pretty around the summer of 2017, and you couldn't tell me nothing else. I sold all my Bodyline, I sold all my cheap stuff, and I said it's going to be AP, baby, or nothing else. That is the only thing that I wanted on my body. I found about quality, it was a lot better. Just the prints were so much prettier. And that was my life from then on. So I started buying full sets. I started experimenting with adding different elements of my dresses into my cords, be that candy, cards, seashells. Around that time, I had been in the fashion for a little while. So I learned about lace market as well. I learned about lace market and my cording started to improve greatly. And that paved the way for the next phase, which was the doll phase. Do y'all remember that My Strange Addiction living doll thing that came out a couple years ago? Yeah, that was this part of my Lolita journey. I wanted to be a living doll. As you can see, I was really into my full sets. I was really into like the kawaii cute poses. I was wearing a lot of different styles at this time, but as you can see, I was doing a lot more with accessorizing to look more like a doll. I was posing myself looking away a lot, posing with bears, just trying to be very cutesy. There's not too much I can say about this phase. I was still very addicted to brands. I was still very addicted to full sets, but I did start to experiment more with accessorizing. With adding more things in my hair, I started to make my own jewelry, make my own wrist cuffs, and that was the time of my life for a couple years, I will say. And I'm a little embarrassed to say I also talked a little differently during this time. I had a very sweet and very cute voice because I really just wanted to be a doll. Like, I cannot describe it in any other way. I wanted to be a walking, living doll. Thankfully, that phase didn't last too long. And the phase that came after it was quite different because that's when I started to go into my Gothic phase. So in my last video, I talked a lot about not putting yourself into a box when it comes to Lolita fashion. And that's pretty much what my Gothic stage was. Just me showing myself that I didn't have to be sweet or classic all the time. Like, I could branch out into different styles if I wanted to. So I will call this phase the Gothic phase and also the it's just clothes phase. So you can see my cording is still pretty good, pretty cohesive. I discovered the color black, the color red, and the color blue during this time. And I discovered more toned down prints or dresses that didn't have prints at all. So during my Gothic phase, I did meet a lot of new friends. Shout out to Empire Noir. Camille, love you so much. And I really started to mature a lot as a person. I stopped talking in that cutesy sweet voice from when I was in my living doll phase. And I really just started to overall just chill out as an individual. I focused on quality when it came to my clothing. I started to buy, sell, and trade a lot on Lace Market. And that was pretty much my Gothic phase. It was very short, but it was just a blossoming and a maturing phase for me. And then that paved the way for the next phase that I'm going to call that my COVID phase. So, when COVID-19 became a thing and we were all at home, I really started to experiment with just a variety of styles of Lolita. I also had made my YouTube channel at this point. So I was getting a lot of brand deals. I was getting a lot of dresses in to try out. So my Lolita style was very varied. Like I wasn't sweet, classic, Gothic. I was just a girl in a dress. Like I was experimenting with country Lolita. I discovered Metamorphose during this time. I discovered Taobao during this time, really. Devil inspired, Night Whisper Lolita. And I was learning how to cord with a mask as we all were. I was learning how to make my own mask as we all were. So during my COVID phase, I started to get more so towards where I am now, which is more so aristocratic. My birthday that year in 2021, I believe, is when I really started to embrace the aristocratic style of Lolita fashion. I bought this dress, this beautiful champagne, sparkly, the most prettiest thing I'd ever seen dress. And that was a major turning point in my life. I started experimenting then with a lot more of the aristocratic side. And I went back to my roots of why I joined Lolita fashion in the first place, was looking for a modern version of French Rococo and Victorian fashion. So that was where my style started to lean more towards, and that is where I became the Lolita that I am today. So my current phase, my last phase, is my aristocratic phase. So as you can tell from my background and also from what I'm wearing right now, my current style is very aristocratic. I'm into large bonnets. I am into lace. I'm into pearls. I am into tiered skirts, hime sleeves, florals. I've moved away from angelic pretty, baby the stars shine bright. I've moved away from prints really in general. And I focus more just on silhouettes. I want to be Marie Antoinette. I want to be Cece. That is who I want to be in my life. I want to wear faux furs. I want to wear nice jewelry. And I want to be a princess. I want to be an aristocrat. I want to reclaim history and wear the clothes that my ancestors fought for me to be able to wear. That is where I'm at currently in my Lolita journey. I hope that you have enjoyed this walk with me. I have gone from being very, very sweet to being a brand whore, to being a doll, to being Gothic, to wearing whatever, to now wanting to be a princess. It has been such a journey for me over the past decade or so, and I cannot wait to see where Lolita takes me in the future. But for now, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on social media, especially my Instagram, if you want to continue my Lolita journey. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.